Lastly, the tools were re-stowed, and the astronauts re-entered the spacecraft.
Indian Ocean for 2.5.
Perhaps the most visually spectacular mission since America's first landing on the moon, Shuttle Flight 7 gave us our first glimpse of the orbiter from a distance.
Another space first.
John, we have had one more of those intermittent dropouts, but the spas came right back up and no other problems.
Thank you.
That's a real picture.
The magnificent views were provided by a European payload called SPAS.
See that picture, guys?
SPAS is an acronym for Shuttle Pallet Satellite, a unique, reusable space platform built by the West German aerospace company Messerschmitt Balkov Blom, with generous financial assistance from the West German Federal Ministry of Research and Technology. In addition to having American television and film cameras mounted on SPAS, 10 experiments belonging to the West German government, the European Space Agency, and NASA were on the platform.
All right.
MBB wanted to validate the satellite's design and prove experiments could be operated while SPAS was free-flying. NASA wanted to show the remote manipulator system could handle the 2.5-ton payload.
And TJ, we just turned on the mass spec to warm it up. I assume that you wanted us to do that.
Affirmative, Sally. Thank you.
I didn't see. No.
Okay, TJ, we're with you, and John performed a beautiful release.
Look at that. That's a pretty good picture.
The orbiter's ability to station keep with SPAS was also demonstrated. At this point, they are 1,000 feet apart. Here, SPAS and Challenger are 200 feet apart. Thrusters on board the orbiter were fired to record the effect on SPAS. SPAS was rebirthed for return to Earth.
They sure are nice. I've been told that some crews in the past have announced that we deliver. Well, from Flight 7, we pick up and deliver.
Pretty cool. Not bad. Nose, I got the links. Thank you. That's We Deliver. It's a NASA like kind of promotional video about what NASA was doing. It's from 1983. Very, very cool. Very cool. All right. So let's start up the space news. So there is stuff to talk about. A lot of stuff. I'm going to try to get the news that we have from yesterday up. There's big news from yesterday. So I'll get that up there, and then we got to get a couple more links. I figured the teeter sat have been replaced, updated over the years, and it did not realize the satellites back then were the same ones used now. Given the data used, I figured they would grow older by 10. They just bounce a signal. Vanguard, there's no bandwidth. They just bounce a signal. It's just TDRS works basically like a mirror. It's just a mirror. That's it. You can shine a light on a mirror, it never stops working. As long as they can just station keep, they're fine. They'll stay up there for a long time. Docu-promo. I know because I just named it that. All right, cool. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? We're going to hit another asteroid. Yep. All right, so let me get these pictures out here. I'll move those pictures over. And we'll go from there. Hellfish, you're going on about CFD. What is this? This could totally be used to teach on the stream. Okay. Okay. Simulating the Williams FW43. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh, that's pretty neat. Cool. Alright. We got a video that we need to put over here. There we go. Scroll down through it for pictures. Okay. Ah. Interesting. Oh wow. Yeah, look at all this. Oh, brake cooling and stuff too. Why is this all like out in the open? Jeez. I'll have to look through more of that later. So you got me back in MSC again after letting it rest for a year. I forgot that the opening menu isn't a pause in game. I forgot that the opening the menu isn't a pause in game and died of dehydration. Oh yeah, no pausing. All right. So you know what? I'm gonna save that for there, and then let's go over here like this. I'm just getting everything compiled here for this space news. We've seen this already. Okay. All right, keep that open there. All right. Okay. I think I got everything. So we're going to start over here with John Krause. Take a look at this picture, guys. So the media was allowed in to view the full stack for SLS for Artemis 1. And John gave us a picture of the full stack there, which is pretty awesome. That's a thing. I'm like, sorry, I got nothing to say for a second there. I'm like, wow. So speaking of that, check this out. This was tweeted out by NASA. Nerd out, it's a giant rocket, but did you know that SLS's core stage tank can shrink by up to 6 inches in length and 1 inch in diameter when filled with supercooled propellants? Connections must expand, slide, telescope, and bend to account for shrinkage. Yeah, there you go. Ooh, okay. Oh, there's the interior of the hydrogen tank. They need to retract the trays for the full effect. Yeah, that should be happening soon. That's awesome. And then, a little bit more SLS news here. Check this out. This is the core stage for Artemis 2. The first crew flight for SLS. This is its upper stage. Yeah, it looks like they combined it, human. It's very interesting. Look at that. So this is in the Delta Operations Center. I can tell just by how the building's put together. It has the extension on it. This is Bay 2 in the Delta Operations Center. where they put Delta IVs together. That's where the ICPS is just hanging out. Of course, it's made by ULA, and it's an extended version of a Delta IV upper stage. Yep, there it is. We got Artemis 2 parts, a lot more than you might think, which is pretty awesome. So between the full stack, Artemis 2 kind of coming together, and then Artemis 3 coming together as well, we're doing pretty good here. That's awesome. I mean, here, Trevor, those are John's pictures, but Trevor posted this, so check this out. Man. When launch for SLS? Probably February. No, Geeson, nothing like that. Not yet. We're a little ways out from a block buy. The reason why we're a little ways out from a block buy, and this is just what my gut's telling me. This isn't based off of whatever anybody told me. This is just kind of what I'm thinking. So, NASA released the RFI the other day about privatizing SLS operations. That's good news, and it's a first step towards a block buy, but it's a first step. So, NASA put out a request for information for what it could take to privatize SLS operations, not flying it. Flying it will still be done by NASA. Everything else will be farmed out. So that's just an RFI. After that, NASA will put out an RFP based off of the information that they get back from the request for information. And once an RFP goes out, then you'll start to see that ball rolling. We're basically at step 1 of like step 30 for a block buy acquisition. What NASA basically wants to do is work with Boeing to spin off SLS operations into its own company. Instead of, SLS being made by Boeing Space, right? Or being assembled by NASA, right? They're trying to spin it off into its own company. That company will acquire parts from Boeing, Aerojet Rocketdyne, Lockheed, ULA, and will buy the parts from them and will assemble the SLS. And their job is literally getting all the parts, assembling the boosters, delivering them to KSC, and putting them together. And then once they put it together, then they hand it over to NASA, and NASA does the whole launch thing. This is how it was done during the shuttle program. And they want to do that. It's going to take a second to set all that up. It really depends on how fast and how competent Bill Nelson. And I think he'll be able to do it. So we're at like step 1 of like step 30 of a block buy for SLS cores. But the point is, and this is the big one, they completed a step towards doing a block buy. So I can't tell you when it's going to be, but I can tell you it's like step 1 out of a very long process. So like what they did with the shuttle. That's exactly what they did with the shuttle. Yes. Mm-hmm. All that hardware tells me there's not so much an if Artemis is staying around, but how long it's staying around. Yeah, for the most part, relativity, cool, space. Okay. Yeah, I have the Terran 1 paint. What's the second one? Ooh, a full mission duty cycle. Yeah, I'll add that to the relativity video that I already have. There we go. Got that. Also this. Was ist das? Oh yeah, the Astro Tour. I'm probably not going to share the entire thing. That's Vasi, just because that's an NSF exclusive. So I don't want to watch the entire thing. That's my gut's telling me that's probably something I should ask them about before I go and show it on stream. Just because it's an exclusive thing, it's not. Our kind of running agreement is for like the Starship content and restreaming their streams for launches and stuff. I don't know about exclusives, and yeah, it pays to be specific when it comes to that. So yeah, I'll shoot Das a message and Chris and see what's going on. Okay, here. Before we get to that Terran 1 stuff, here's another bit. Check this out. So, we got a word back yesterday from the United States Court of Federal Claims over Blue Origin's protest to the HLS filing here. So, I'll just, for the record, I will read this out. For the reasons assigned in the memorandum opinion filed concurrently with this order of judgment, the defendant's motion to dismiss ECF 60 under Rule 12b1 and Rule 12b6 of the Rules of the Court of Federal Claims is granted. The defendant's motion for judgment on the administrative record, ECF 60 under Rule 52.1 of the Rules of the Court of Federal Claims is granted. The defendant interventor's motion for a judgment on the administrative record, ECF 62, is granted. The plaintiff's motion for judgment on the administrative record, ECF 61, is denied. So that the court may release the opinion publicly, the parties shall meet and confer jointly propose redactions to the memorandum opinion by November 18th, 2021. Until the court releases the opinion publicly, the parties are reminded that the protective order remains in force and they shall not disclose either the opinion or any portion of the opinion to any person not admitted to the protective order. The clerk is directed to enter. This is all court mumbo jumbo, but so what does this mean? Long story short, Blue Origin took NASA to the United States Court of Federal Claims, claiming that NASA wrongfully awarded SpaceX an HLS contract, the Human Landing System. They wrongfully awarded them that. The reason they went and the reason they pushed it is because NASA basically put out the rules for HLS contracts, right? And the rules basically stated that they wanted to choose two providers for HLS, right? For the Human Landing System. They wanted two landers. They promptly went to Congress to get the funding for these two landers and got maybe not even 25% of what they asked for. That forced NASA to change their criteria a little bit, which they can do within the law. That's what this says. They can change the criteria for landers. The criteria that they changed, I won't bore you with the details. There's two big ones. The first one is that NASA can choose one provider, or two, or zero. They put in nomenclature to be able to basically hedge their bets in case they got underfunded. The second one, and this is a very important one to understand. The second thing that they changed, and if you want to look this up, it's next step 2 Human Landing System, down select, I think it's Appendix N, I think is the added bit. This part basically says that you can change your bid around private capital. Meaning, the plain Jane way of saying that is, look, if you think it costs $4 billion and you have $2 billion, you can bid $2 billion to NASA. You could basically fund a human landing system. You can fund as much of it as you want. If you want to lower your bid because you have the capital to fund the mission, then do it. Basically, they opened up private funding for this contract. That's the big one. That's where Blue is like, what the hell? So NASA changed it. And when they changed it, they awarded SpaceX the contract, and Blue Origin got pissed. They got mad. They're like, hey, you changed the rules. And NASA said, yeah, we're allowed to change the rules. And they said, no, that's not fair. And then they took them to court. And turns out that NASA abided, hopefully, within the law. You're allowed to donate money to NASA. You're allowed to well, it's not donate, Tessa. NASA ain't no charity. It's about privately funding NASA-awarded contracts. That was a big deal. I don't think there's been anything like that in the past, but I'd have to go look. Hey, Stryker, what's going on? So, I'm altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further. They literally Darth Vader. Yeah, they Darth Vadered Blue Origin, which is kind of messed up, but you are allowed to save NASA money. Bingo. The funny part about that is that turns out Blue Origin has a lot of friends in high places. And all of a sudden, after NASA awarded SpaceX the contract, the Congress, the same people that shorted NASA, so they had to choose one, ended up saying, no, you have to choose two. And NASA said, you didn't give us enough money to do that. Oh, well, no, that's just not right. You need to choose two. You have to choose two. Guys, make sure they get the money to choose two. That's literally what happened. Yeah. Now, whether you think that's an accident or not, I don't know. This is the op-ed part of this. I personally think that NASA did that on purpose. They figured out they were going to get shortchanged for SLS, and they did something bold. What did they do? They selected SpaceX. Nobody, if you told me a day before the source selection statement came out that SpaceX would get selected as the prime contractor, let alone the only contractor for the human landing system, I would have called you nuts. But I think NASA did it on purpose. I think that they did that on purpose. One, because it was the only budget they could afford first and foremost. That's the big one. Two, because they knew good and well that Blue Origin would do this. They would go and they would lobby Congress to get NASA more money, inadvertently. I'm pretty dang sure that that was on purpose. I can't prove it. No way to prove it. We'll probably never know. But I'm pretty sure that that's what happened. Because NASA started changing the rules. They started changing the rules for the human landing system after they got underfunded. So it was a reaction. They did that on purpose. And I'm pretty sure they selected SpaceX knowing full well that it would piss off a lot of people in high places and end up getting NASA more money anyway, which basically is going to happen. I'm pretty sure they did that on purpose. There's a good play by this dude up here. And then, Jim has the assist and Bill shot the goal. Like to speak in hockey or soccer football terms, So I'm pretty sure that that's what happened. I can't prove it. Don't know. We made it up. Total fabrication. It's false. It's fiction. It's fiction. We made it up. Total fabrication. Wrong. No. All right, anyway. Well, if Blue Origin hit orbit, then maybe they would have a chance. Well, Maggie, yeah. I'm sure that had something to do with it. I'm fairly confident Blue Origin missed NASA changing the rules. I'm pretty sure. And this is not a reflection of talent at Blue Origin or lack thereof. I'm pretty sure that they're new to the game for competing for defense contracts like that, or even NASA contracts. If you want to rope that into defense, that's kind of on you. Not you, Maggie, but anyone else. I think they have inexperience to this, and it shows. They missed that NASA changed the rules. I'm pretty dang sure. Once again, that's speculative on my part. Don't know. I'm pretty sure Blue didn't notice. I'm pretty sure they were too busy trying to get this thing working to notice that. But SpaceX noticed. I'm pretty sure that's what they were pissed off about. Because Blue was like, you got to tell us when you change the rules. And they reported NASA to the Office of Inspector General. And OIG said, no, they don't. They were totally acting within the legal law. And then they said, all right, fine. We'll take you to federal claims and we'll see what happens there. Now, before you go dumping on Blue Origin, before everybody goes dumping on Jeff Bezos, everybody likes to weigh in on that guy at every waking moment. I'm gonna, people probably aren't gonna like what I'm about to show you, but check this out. Look, hey, if he's gonna act classy about things, I'm cool with it. Jeff tweeted yesterday, not the decision we wanted, but we respect the court's judgment and wish full success for NASA and SpaceX on the contract. If he's gonna be a class act, I don't have a problem with that. Good for you. Good. Now, I have my personal kind of opinions about where I think Blue Origin is going, but I want to be very clear that I think that this is my opinion, or not I think that this is my opinion. This is my opinion, so take for it what you will. Changes in corporate structure don't happen overnight, guys. Unless, it's a hostile takeover or something, in which case most people just lose their jobs, and that's your change, right? In the corporate world, if you want to change the course of a company, it takes time. Look at any company that's been, you know, that had to change its course, had to turn over a new leaf. A good example would be Chrysler in the late 70s, early 80s. Chrysler thought the oil crisis was a fad, so they basically kept making the same cars that from the 60s into the 70s, and by the late 70s they were basically bankrupt. A gentleman that worked for Ford, that was the president of Ford Motor Company, named Lee Iacocca, came in and they put him at the helm. They put him as the CEO to try and fix everything, to try and save Chrysler. And he did. But it took a couple of years. He got control of Chrysler in 79. Chrysler was basically done. They were toast. Like completely folding, gone. Nothing left. Just whoosh, not bought out by anybody. Nothing. Just folded. Shut it all down and leave. They were about, I don't know, a month away from doing that. Lee Iacocca came in and started fixing things. He started fixing things, and part of that was that he needed capital, right? This is kind of a little bit of a side story, but it's good to understand. All right, he needed capital, so he went to Congress, unsolicited, went to Congress and said, "Look, I need cash. I need a guaranteed loan to save this business, or else I'm screwed. Nobody wants to invest in this. So, you know, unless you want mass unemployment in your congressional districts, you need to help me out. I don't want a bailout. I want a loan, and I will pay it back on time." He went in front of Congress by himself and said that. You can go look it up. It's actually really cool. And needless to say, in 1980, he got the loan, and Chrysler was profitable by 1983. Profitable. He returned the company to profit within 2 years. And that's what I'm trying to get at. To change the corporate structure of a huge entity like this is something that's difficult to do. It takes time. Now, Lee Iacocca is a freaking genius. That guy was a genius. He could sell a ketchup popsicle to a woman wearing white gloves. Okay? Tommy boy. Auto parts. It makes sense because cars. Anyway, so the point that I'm trying to get at is that this takes time. Now, my personal theory is that when Jeff stepped down from his position as Amazon CEO, he basically didn't step down. He just lateral movement at best, right? When he did that, he started getting more hands-on. Excuse me. Sorry, yelling at hockey. He started getting more hands-on with Blue Origin, especially after his flight into a suborbital trajectory that went across the Kármán line and went into space, but it was only for a second, but it still did it. It's important to understand that. It still was there. After that, I began to see kind of a shift in what Blue is doing. We started seeing more promo videos coming from them. We started seeing a little more insight as to what they're doing. And most importantly, we started seeing progress happening from them. You started seeing the Pathfinder get assembled. We saw some structural prototypes here and there. And more importantly, Jeff is more involved with it. So my personal theory, and once again, people, you can say whatever you want. If you have bad opinions about Jeff or Elon or whomever, I don't care. Whatever. Not everybody's going to like the guy. I don't know. This is just kind of not like kissing his tail or anything like that. It's just kind of what I think's going on. We know that Jeff is a space nut, all right? He's a space nutcase. The guy's liked space since he was a kid. Like, it's pretty obvious, right? And if it's one thing that I know about people that are space nuts, that bug doesn't go away. If you like space, you like space. You're always going to. There's no people that are like, yeah, I was into it for a little while, and then... No, if it gets you, it gets you. Like, talking from experience on that one, right? No, Make, I haven't gotten to that yet, but I'll get to it. Absolutely. Of those 4 goals by Berge. Oh, it was great. Striker. It's fantastic. Hat trick, man. And then another goal. But we can't be relying on one line to freaking score 4 goals. We'll lose if we keep doing that. But my personal theory is that Jeff is a space nut, and he's looking at Blue Origin a little bit differently than his other companies, and he did it after he went into space. Because you started seeing stuff like this. This is a pretty good indicator, right, of what's going on here. At least I think it is. You'd never heard him comment about any other contracts before. Never heard him you never heard him say anything about contracts ever. I think that Jeff went in there, long story short, and said, "What are you guys doing?" Like, to be candid, it was probably a little different than this. He probably went in there and said, what are you doing? I invest all this money. What are you doing? Like, how come you don't have a big rocket yet? What's going on? Now, and once again, I don't think that's a reflection of Blue, of the technical expertise at Blue, because there is a lot of it there. They're going for contracts all over the place. It's not just HLS and a couple of other things. Blue's trying to get their fingers all over the place, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. That's more money for space as far as I'm concerned. Pretty sure he went in there and said, what's going on? And ever since the NS-16 flight, I've seen Blue kind of go on a different trail. Like, and if Blue is doing this, and they're doing what I think they're doing, they'll kind of fall more into line with, not like something like SpaceX, but kind of in that direction, a little more open about what they're doing. You never would have heard of Jeff Bezos commenting on contracts about spaceflight ever. I've never seen him do that before. And guys, I was saying this before this tweet, you know? I was saying that before this came out. Space is more addictive than... Yeah, Tessa, you're not wrong. So, yeah, the infographics. Dude, yeah. AJ, you noticed that after Jeff went into space and he moved his Amazon position and started getting more involved with Blue Origin, that stuff stopped real fast? Notice that? That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about, dude. That stuff stopped real quick. Real quick. They could have been posting all this stuff while it was in court of federal claims, blah, 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 blah. They could have been saying all this stuff. No, that stuff stopped real quick. And look, you got Jeff being classy about losing the contract. Good. If you're going to be classy about this, I don't have a problem. Keep doing what you're doing. You'll get it. I'll cheer you on every step of the way. And AJ, yeah, I hope Blue becomes a well-oiled machine. I'm with you on that one, dude. Because, look, once again, I understand people have their criticisms of the guy. But nobody here can fault Jeff Bezos for not knowing how to run a business. All right? I'm pretty sure he's good at that. I'm just putting it out there. It's just a thought. Like, I get it. People aren't going to like it. But pretty dang sure he's good at that. And if he's hands-on Blue Origin, then we should be worried. Not worried, but you know what I mean? Like, I think he'll do good things, and I'm going to be cheering him on every step of the way. Do you think that the press and the public being mad at them had anything to do with that? Possibly. It's possible. It's possible, but yeah, I mean, yeah, another thing. Once again, Phil, this is just opinion. It's just opinion. Like, don't take that whole thing about Blue Origin changing corporate directions and stuff with a grain of salt. Like, that would be like the news equivalent of an op-ed from me. This isn't the news. We're just talking about where I think Blue Origin is going. Trust me, I've seen them change direction. And I'm not being paid to say that. I'm not saying that because Twitch is under the Amazon family. Like, I'm not saying that. Launch a freaking rocket into space. You've been around for 20 years. What are you doing? Like, I'm not getting paid to say that. Like, it's just what I think. Because the reason why I think that is because of the space bug. That's why I mentioned it. When you have the space bug, you don't lose it. Nobody goes, like, from loving space to not loving space. That's not how that works. Ask anybody that's into it. Ask anyone that works in the industry. That is not how that happens. Yeah, Tessa, I mean, I'm with you. See, a smart businessman can be seething about a loss, but put on a classy face in public because he knows that's going to look better for the company.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Never been pissed off about losing money ever, Buck? Like, you ever get annoyed about stocks or something? Like, dude, I'm not gonna lie. There are times where I'm streaming and I get pissed off at people, but I don't show it. Why? What's the point? It's just emotions. Deal with it. Like, you know? Yeah. And what Jeff does in the public eye is a reflection of his character. That not necessarily how he feels, but what he wants, right? Like that's good for the company, right? And that alone in itself, right, shows that like instantly right there, that the whole tweet kind of confirms what I've been thinking for a little while. He wants Blue Origin to kind of change direction and, you know, get these contracts not because he's attached to it. Get these contracts on merit. That seems to be the direction that they're moving in. And you know what, man? Bring it on, dude. I will cheer you on every step of the way. don't get me wrong. I've been pretty neutral about Blue Origin this entire time. Like, yeah, Buck, that's the vibe that I'm getting, but it's just a vibe. I don't know. Who knows? Hey, Pinox, 13-month reset. And then Cosmo Quest had a raid as well. Thank you very much. That's a lie. You've shown how mad you can get on people. Yeah, after I've been streaming for 13 hours straight and someone's giving me crap, sure, absolutely. You haven't seen me mad. Let's be real. I've never gone full nuclear on stream. I never will. So it's just a theory that I've been throwing around. I think that that's what's going on here. I could be wrong, but not even Jeff Bezos is impervious to the space bug. It is an addiction. It never goes away. Elon, on the other hand, is like, give me the space bug IV drip, dog. Give me the IV drip space. I need more space. You know, he kind of doubled down on that one. Anyway, speaking of another person that has the space bug, let's go over and visit a company over in Long Beach. This is a company headed by a guy named Tim Ellis called Relativity Space. Let's see what they're up to. Are you space? Yes, I am. Now we are a family. The more keen-eyed will notice that. Relativity Space is a company that's specifically working on optimizing additive manufacturing in anticipation of a future space economy. So what does that mean in plain English? They want to make 3D printed rockets to learn how to manufacture stuff with 3D printers so they can figure out how to manufacture and 3D print stuff in space one day. So they started with 3D printed rockets. The entire pressure vessel, the liquid fuel and oxidizer tanks on these rockets are 3D printed on proprietary 3D printers that were made by them in-house. This is the Terran 1 rocket from Relativity. It is, once again, all 3D printed. The engines, all the main engine subassemblies on these rockets are 3D printed. The tanks are 3D printed. The structure is 3D printed. Everything's 3D printed. And this is just the start. But this is cool to see a flight prototype come out of Relativity. We haven't seen anything like that yet, which is pretty cool. G-Funky, you're in class right now. Shut the stream off and focus on class now. If you don't shut the stream off, Funky, I will. Aluminum taco. Aluminum. Their lack of cylindrical symmetry disgusts me for the moment. Alright. What isn't 3D printed? Nuts and bolts, Omni. Focus on school, G-Funky. I'm not going to be your excuse for doing bad in school. I swear to God, if you go and turn on another Twitch stream, I'm going to be pissed. This is an educational stream, but this won't get you a high school diploma or a college degree. Remember that? Go focus on school, man. I'll be here when you get back. Microgravity probably messes with 3D printing, right? I would assume to an extent, Bobby, yeah. But, so they have this video, and then another one here. A duty cycle test on one of their engines. Let's see what this is about. Printed. Looks good. I'm watching the Plume, guys. Plume looks okay. They're throttling it because the expansion on the Plume is changing. Because, well, once again, it says it in the title. It's a duty cycle test. This is Relativity Space duty cycle engine test on the 3D printed rocket engine. The rocket engines are like 90% 3D printed, guys. All of the plumbing, the nozzles, the combustion chamber, the injector, that's all 3D printed from what I understand. It's only like the fittings and some of the hoses that are, you know, off the shelf, so to speak. Throttled it up. Easy way to tell that they throttle it up is look at how much air this thing is moving. It's sucking the condensation from the LOX tank that's above it, or not above it, somewhere up here. It's pulling it down a lot faster and getting in front of the camera. They throttled the engine up. It's Carolox, Matt. But this looks to be some type of closed cycle Carolox engine from what I can tell. You're not getting a black soot plume from the thing. Yep, there's a flame out. Does the smoothness or lack thereof affect the efficiency of the engine bell? Like, does the 3D printing process leave a rough surface? I don't know, Stryker. And yeah, ideally you want the inside of this to be pretty dang smooth. You don't want turbulence inside of the rocket engine. That's bad. Just like you don't want turbulence inside of the intake or exhaust manifolds on a car. Same idea. Yeah, turbulent. You don't want it. You don't want anything to create turbulent air. You want, long story short, you want pretty smooth laminar flow coming out of the rocket engine. Nice and smooth and consistent. That's the way to do that. See how defined that is? That's a nice defined line like that is an indication of a nice healthy rocket engine. She's very healthy in this picture. That looks great. You even got a little bit of a shock diamond down here. That's perfect. Very nice. Could they make 3D printing work in orbit? That's their stated end goal, Salakovsky, to work on on-orbit manufacturing. They want to be able to easily mass-produce rockets so they can move enough stuff into space, so they can build a factory in space, so they can play Factorio in space with their 3D printing machines. That's Relativity's stated goal. That's not EJ kind of interpreting it. That's what Tim Ellis has said pretty much. It's not verbatim, but it's pretty much that. Tim Ellis is the CEO of Relativity. It's crazy, dude. He's younger than I am, which is just strange to see. I'm like, how old are you? I'm sorry, I'm just used to like, and this isn't a knock at Tory Bruno or Elon or anybody. I'm used to seeing You know, like guys that are 10 years older than me running these companies, not, 5 years younger. Like Tim Ellis is, yeah, young dude, which is pretty cool. But yeah, this guy, nice and healthy. Nice and healthy. That looks great. Turbulence is the reason that I worry about the ribbing. So, Killer Alpine, what makes you think that the inside of those tanks isn't machined? They could 3D print it and then they could turn the thing on a giant lathe or something. What's stopping them from doing that? They 3D printed on a huge spinning mill. Why not have the 3D printer with a little end mill right after it, smoothing the inside of it? It's possible. I mean, honestly, you want baffling on the inside. You want the inside of those tanks to be actually rough. Or a grid or something, because you want to baffle the fuel. Because fuel slosh, basically, like on upper stages and stuff, right? When you fly your upper stage into space, if you don't have any baffling, if the inside of the tank wall is smooth, the rocket engine is sucking in the fuel, and the fuel will whirlpool. And that whirlpooling will have a gyroscopic effect and cause your booster to your second stage to do this. It'll spin out. Happened to SpaceX. You want the inside of that tank surface to be rough, because you don't want the fuel sloshing around or whirlpooling. You want to break up that hydrodynamic flow. Yeah, you don't want your propellant to go coggers inside of the tanks. That's a bad thing. That's not good for it. It'll act like SAS. Yeah, it'll act like SAS for you. Yeah, you don't want that. Trevor putting out the big guns. It's a great picture. Yeah. Yeah, Striker, it's like, oh, alright. Yeah, that messes with my head with the Red Sox, Striker. At least it did. Half of the guys on the Red Sox look like they're 12. Unless you want it to spin stabilize. No. Find another means to do that, Tessa. Yeah, you don't want your propellants whirlpooling inside of there because it could slosh like a toilet bowl and then you're screwed.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Hey, Mayan, 40-month resub. Thank you. Give me 1 second, guys. All right, so that's what's going on with Relativity. Good to see some news from them. That's pretty sweet. Let's see. Can you link the 3D printing thing? I missed it. Yeah, sure, man. Let me get the links back up. There's 2 of them, Savvy. All right, cool. So, now, going back to the HLS thing. I forgot this last part. This is important to understand. NASA can now, and SpaceX can now move unabated on human landing system work. So we should start seeing some prototypes probably floating around Boca Chica. Bozo finally gave up about time. .com, I want to show you this. You probably didn't hear me when I showed about it before, but here, check it out. What do you think of that? I wouldn't say that he gave up, but the Court of Federal Claims had a ruling so much, but it's a class act, man. That's good. That's what we want to see. That's what I don't know about you guys. That's what I want to see from that dude. But hey, I talked about that a little bit in more detail, probably about 15, 20 minutes ago. Orbital reef is still a thing. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's see. Speaking of seeing progress down in Boca Chica, let's go right here and see what's going on with NSF. See what's going on with SpaceX with this footage from NASA spaceflight. Once again, NSF is the one that lets us see all this footage. We have basically unrestricted access to all the Boca Chica stuff. I can show it and analyze it. So I do thank them for what they do. This footage was shot from Mary, Boca Chica girl, and a little bit later in the video, Nick and Sweeney, the two NSF full-time photographers down there. Fellas, I don't usually plug stuff like this, but please make sure you go over there. At least give NSF a sub or something, like at the very least, or go buy a shirt from them or something. That supports this kind of content, and if you support them, that's inadvertently supporting me here, being able to analyze this content for you. So if you like this content analyzation, you like kind of what I'm, going in here and breaking down, like how the cranes are made down at Boca Chica, how the ins and outs go, go over there and support them if you could, please. I don't like asking, how, if you don't know me, I don't like doing stuff like this. I don't be like, well, you got to do this to view my content. I don't believe in putting stuff behind paywalls or anything like that, and neither does NSF. So make sure you go and support that stuff. But the vast majority of NSF content is not behind a paywall. They do have some paywall content, but that's L2. L2 is clutch, by the way. But yeah. All this Starship stuff you can just go and look at. It's on tap anytime, 24 hours a day. So,
Discovery.
It's not cheap to go and film this stuff every day. Yeah, NSF is pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know about their Starship analyzation though, Ian. It's pretty bad. I think I can do better Starship analysis. I'm just kidding, man. You do a good job. I couldn't even finish the damn joke. I'm like, you do a great job, buddy. Deadly 5-month resub. Thank you very much. Even though I watch your videos here, I made it a habit to put them on a different tab on. Yeah, and watch them over there. Yeah, I appreciate that, Laser. Right on. No, Ian does their Starship analyzation, dude, and yeah, Ian, you do a good job. You managed to condense what takes me like 6 hours to say into like a good 15-minute video that's very clear and concise. Yeah, they're lacking. The host is a loser. I bet he's scripting one right now. What a turd. Yeah, real translation is done off the cuff. No, you do a good job, dude. The word you want is analyses? That's weird, Audrey. Anyway, guys, make sure you go over there and support NSF. They let us watch this stuff. Go support them so we can keep peeping Tom Starship every day, And look, if you like birds, dude, it's a great bird watching stream too. So, Ship 21 nose cone and nose cone barrel. Man, they're really coming in their own with this tile stuff. This looks a lot more spacecrafty if you catch my drift here. Look at that. That looks real. Oh. Something with the tile up there on the front, but maybe that's on purpose. They're getting there. Do you think we'll be able to colonize Mars within our lifetime, Deathly? Or Deathy? It's very that's very contingent. Would I like that? Yes, absolutely. I think we will see the first person land on Mars. If it's not going to be NASA, it'll probably be SpaceX or vice versa. Frankly, I'll be real with you. I don't give a frick who does it. China could do it for all I care, as long as someone's freaking doing it. I firmly believe that humanity's destiny does not lie or does not end on this planet. That's a really bad idea. Yeah. These coronal mass injections are a pretty good example. You know, the last one missed, and then we got another one coming. All it's going to take is a CME in the right spot, and then, yeah. You remember the dinosaurs? Yeah, that could happen. We don't want that. You don't want to put all our eggs in one basket. You know, and that from a kind of human condition standpoint, I think that, you know, humans are perfect for space. Like, because think about it. Humans have been around for millions of years. Millions of years. You know, we have, over those millions of years, we have fought our way on this planet to the top of our food chain. We're the apex predator on this planet by far. By a long shot. You know, it was the dinosaurs, right? And then they came extinct. And then it was, you know, woolly mammoths and stuff in the Ice Age. I mean, that I skipped a good deal of geological history there. But you get the idea. We fought to be the apex predator over millions of years. Humans are ingrained to fight. That's what we do. That's what we're good at. You know, the flip side is that we're creative, blah, blah, blah. You know, I think space is perfect for the human condition. Why? Space is constantly trying to kill you. We're perfect for it. Our destiny lies up in the stars. I firmly believe that. You can call me a space nutcase. Dude, I totally get it. And I understand that we have problems down here on Earth that we need to fix before we can go be happy, jolly space people. I understand that as well. Trust me, I put a lot of thought into this. That's what I personally think, but, you know, like, I'm not going to go around being like, have you heard about our Lord and Savior, the vacuum? You know, like, not going to do that. Like, but I think we belong up there, personally. It's just a personal opinion. You know, we got to, you know, Earth is humanity's cradle. You got to leave the cradle at some point. If we want to truly progress as a species, we need to do that. So, Deathy, to answer your question, and now that I've said what I've said, do you think we're going to get there in our lifetime? Yes. But it is very contingent. During the Apollo program in 1968, if you said, do you think, you know, when do you think we're going to colonize Mars? You know, the average spaceflight fan would have probably told you, oh, yeah, well, with the Apollo program, now that we've gone to the moon, we could get to Mars within a 10, 15 years. You know, stuff can take a wild turn. And oftentimes when the world gets crazy, spaceflight usually gets put on the back burner. It happens. Vietnam, Afghanistan. So it's very contingent. But, you know, I think we'll get there. I think we'll get there in our lifetime. Yeah. I would prefer sooner rather than later. Yeah, Badger. Yeah. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Chasing death, basically. We won't stop till we find a predator we can't overcome. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly, Axiom. It's also important to mention that we can fix stuff down here and go into space. And going into space could help us get some introspective on why we should fix stuff down here. That's called the overview effect. It's a well-documented thing. When you see Earth from space, it's like, whoa. Wow. And don't get me wrong, I've never done it. I would love to. Oh, I absolutely would, yeah. Yeah. But it's called the overview effect. It's a very well-documented phenomenon with people that go into space. Long story short, you don't see borders when you're up there. It's humanity versus everybody. Humanity versus the infinite death of space, as William Shatner kind of hinted at when he flew, right? You know, it gives you a good perspective on things, you know. So I think our destiny lies up there. And in that regard, you never know what's going to happen, but we're trending in the right direction. Yeah. We had a space race in the 60s. Do you think we'll have another space race now? History doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. Tech guy. So I'm not sure we're going to have an entire space race between the US and China so much as, you know, we might have a space race between companies in the future. Something similar to the commercial airline industry, but hopefully for space. That would be nice. History doesn't repeat, Pig Zig, it rhymes. Yeah, Vremo's the one that actually taught me that. That's a really good way to say it. It's PvE and not PvP. Yeah, twitching. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ghost One, that'd be funny. But, yeah. Deathy, do I think we're going to make it? Yeah, sure. If Elon has his way, sure. I mean, in reality, the situation, if you're looking at it from a macro perspective, right? Dude, it's not going to take much to wipe us off this planet. It wouldn't take much. A good asteroid in the right spot, that's the end of that. A CME in the right spot, we fry like peeps in a microwave. That would also be bad. Yeah, we don't want that. These are apocalypse-ending events, and not to sound like a doom and gloom kind of guy, but it's possible. We should hedge our bets, you know? It's a good idea. Yeah, a pandemic, that's a good point, yeah. I'm going to ignore what you said before that, human, but yeah. You know, like something like, you know, don't get me wrong, this current pandemic is bad. People have died. You know, I don't think it's wise to be like, you know, oh, like species that, like we could have a species-ending pandemic. That would be very bad, you know. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to say we weren't threatened by this one, you know, so. Could a CME actually overcome Earth's magnetic field? I don't know, Phil. I don't know enough about astrophysics to be able to honestly answer that question. If I had to guess, knowing how meteorology works, I would guess that space meteorology is somewhat like Earth meteorology. It's very unpredictable, and you don't really know what the extent of the damage is going to be until it happens. There are predictions, there are models, but we don't know for sure. I don't want to find out. But we might have to find out anyway. It's possible. I mean, how about this volcano that has the potential to wipe out the eastern seaboard? Ghost One, I would be much more worried about Yellowstone. If Yellowstone goes, that's a civilization-ending event. We're basically screwed. If Yellowstone goes, it wipes out the U.S.'s breadbasket. That's the stuff that feeds almost everybody in the U.S. If the Midwest goes and it boils the underwater ocean that's there, there's no nutrient soil, no plant grows, not to mention it blocks out the sun. And see, you know, the Midwest of the U.S., we got to understand that that's the breadbasket for the U.S., but it's also the breadbasket for the world. The U.S. exports a lot of food overseas, all over the place. That is a civilization-ending event. That would be very bad. We know they can destroy the power grid. The Carrington event in the 1850s set telegraph lines on fire and shocked the operators, and I think auroras were bright enough in London to read. Yeah, Ian, there you go. I don't want to be around when the next one happens. But then again, you know, maybe we'll find a way to mitigate it. The rad shield stuff, that would work, which a lot of our infrastructure is because of the Cold War, right? But also at the same time, you know, we should probably look into, you know, not being on Earth or having a way to hedge our bets in case something like that does happen. You know, there's no evidence for mass extinctions in the fossil record from CMEs, but usually from asteroids and bad volcanoes. Well, Capybara, what other species in Earth's, 6 billion years of being around has had an electrified power grid? You know, an extinction event won't come. A CME for the dinosaurs probably didn't do anything. It just probably put some pretty lights in the sky. A CME for us, how many people here depend on electricity to live? Just because it doesn't show that a CME could be a bad civilization or a mass extinction event in the past doesn't mean that it won't be now. See, I don't have to worry about that. You know why? 2 of my automobiles use carburetors. I'd be worried about running out of gas before I'm worried about the car not working. Good old analog technology. A coronal mass injection, Liam. Long story short, the sun is a giant power plant that's radiating exhaust in space. It's a giant power plant. Just like any other power plant, it has emissions. Those emissions come in 2 forms: sunlight and solar radiation. Now, sunlight that's kind of a blanket statement for all that. The sun is emitting all different types of light. Some of it you can't see, some of it you can't see. Some of it sunburns you, some of it doesn't. Just like if you picture the sun kind of like a motor, like a car engine. Oh, here comes the car analogy. An engine can have a backfire. An engine can have a backfire. Sometimes the sun backfires. When it backfires, quotes, that's called a solar flare. And if it's a big enough backfire, it's a massive coronal mass injection. Yeah. Ejection, sorry. It's not an injection. It's coronal mass ejection. But, yeah, just like any other power plant, it has an exhaust. Pretty much. It's a big power plant. It's pretty good. I like that power plant. I, for one, welcome our power plant overlords. It's incredible that this CME can escape the sun's gravity. That's right. Yeah. It's hitting escape velocity around the sun. That's how it can go to Earth. It's a lot of particle acceleration right there. So, yeah, I mean, I want to make sure we don't have all of our eggs in one basket when the next one comes. Because it's not a question of if, it's when, right? Or a volcano, or an asteroid, or whatever. Not space, but a sick view of an F-18 being craned onto a ship. Yeah, that didn't load. Sigh. It's just blank. We're sorry, Flickr doesn't allow embedding within frames. Please click here to view this content. Yep, I don't care. Not that I don't care that you linked it. I'm sure it's cool, but yeah, it won't let me see it because raisins. It worked for you. Oh, that's good. That's good. Doesn't get me seeing it any faster, but all right, Ichi. Cool. Is it cool? Tell me. I haven't seen it. Anyway. So, yeah. Deathy, yeah, I think we'll get there. It depends. It's contingent. That's what that means. There's a lot of variables that need to fall into place for that to happen. There was a lot of variables that needed to fall into place to get Apollo to happen when it did. But I think we're in a very good position. Deathy, that is the exact reason, and just kind of a little follow-up to this question. That is the exact reason why I like SLS and I like Starship. Okay? I like every rocket. I don't discriminate when it comes to my rocket companies. I will cheer everybody on. Because, okay, think about this. All right? Let's think about this. What is the space economy going to look like 20 years down the road? What is it going to look like? Is Elon going to succeed with Starship and drive everybody else out of business? What's going to happen? What does NASA do in that particular scenario? Only use Starship? Is that it? Only use Starship? Are they only going to use it? How's that going to work? Is NASA going to have to use SpaceX's stuff to get into space? What happens if something like the shuttle happens? Then we have no access into space. You know, what if, God forbid, something happened to SpaceX? Yeah, I don't like entertaining these ideas, but everybody thought the Apollo program was foolproof and they were going to keep going with it, and then they didn't. Why? Why did they not? Well, the Soviet Union stopped funding it. Soviet Union stopped funding their lunar program when they figured out that the U.S. was stopping funding their lunar program. So that, one compounded off the other, and they ended up finishing the space race with the dinky Apollo-Soyuz test project. And don't get me wrong, that mission had other goals, right? Which was good. They're peaceful goals, which is fine. And that helped us be able to work with the Russians, and we've been operating the biggest space station ever built by man for the last 21 years, almost to the day, because of it, right? Like, I get it. Some good stuff came out of it. But what stopped the space race? Stagnation. No competition. So that tells me that if there's no competition in the market, you're going to lead to stagnation every single time. That's just economics. Right? And before somebody says, well, EJ, you don't know the future. Well, yeah, of course I don't know the future, but you're going to tell me that spaceflight is immune to stagnation? Bull crap. The hell it is. If it is, the shuttle would still, if it wasn't, the shuttle would still be flying right now. If it wasn't, Constellation would still be flying right now. Of course it is. Just like every other thing, it has to take its place in a natural economy. So, because spaceflight, in order to be normalized, has to take place in the construct of a regular economy, right? You're going to need competition. You're going to have it. That's inevitable. Now, part two of that is, what is NASA's function going to be 20 years down the road when, there's commercial spaceflight into space on a daily basis? Like, that's the plan with Starship, launch it once a day, and basically it's like a 747 that flies into space. What's NASA going to play in that role? Well, I think it's very, very important to keep NASA with an in-house rocket as well. Now, I know what people are going to say. Why? Why would you do that? Why would you want SLS and Starship to exist for the next 50 years in conjunction with each other when Starship is a lot cheaper of a price? Don't you think that's better? No, I don't think that's better. I think that's a really stupid idea, believe it or not. Why? Why is that? Well, the post office exists. Every single country that I know of has a post service. Every single one of them. Does that mean they don't have something like FedEx or DHL or UPS around? No. Why is that? Well, the reason we still have the post office in the U.S., amongst other reasons, there's because the post service offers stuff that you can't get from a commercial provider. Like, getting stamps, passport photos, stuff like that. Voting, that's kind of important. Would you want that in private hands? I wouldn't, right? The post service offers a unique capability that is redundant to a commercial provider, a commercial shipping company, right? But also, it does stuff that those companies can't. NASA needs to exist like that in a future spaceflight economy. Not because they absolutely 100% have to, but that is the best possible way to hedge your bets against something like the Apollo program getting canceled happening again. That's the best way to do it. And nobody can convince me that the US government will allow a corporation to be the only one that has access to the moon. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. There's no way that they would make that happen. No. Governments don't work like that. Are you watching The Foundation? Highly recommended. No. The post office is a public service, not a business. And so is NASA. So is NASA, Falcon. Once again, it's important to have redundant capabilities. Is NASA there to make a profit? And hell no. That's not their job at all. Stop. That's why I get annoyed when people say, SLS is a waste of money. Well, what's a waste of money to you? By that logic, the post office is a waste of money. Is that true? By that logic, the EPA is a waste of money. Like, that's a stupid argument to make. It's not the same. You're comparing meters a second to inches. That doesn't work in multiple ways, right? the best way to go forward, to hedge our bets against something contingent happening, like a space program getting canceled or a corporation going out of business, the best way to do that is to have redundant dissimilar capability across the entire economic spectrum. And that includes public works and private partnerships and private solely by itself. Something similar to the commercial airline industry, right? Hey, in my country, the post office was privatized. Well, that's good. Without the hunger for profit, Earth could be such a nice place. Yeah, and if we didn't need to go to the bathroom, we wouldn't need toilets, Microwave. What's the point? What's your point? Did you ever read the Foundation series by Isaac Asimov? No, I never read them. I know about them, though, human. So, definitely, once again, that's a little bit of a complicated question. Do I think we're going to get to Mars in the future? Yes, I do. The best way to do that is to cheer on everybody. This is why I hate polarization in the space program. I hate it. These people have no idea what they're doing. They're undermining the program. This fanboyism that's going on could inadvertently lead to stagnation and end up having the space program gone. We could end up with a net less, a downward trend in capability. Look, NASA tried to do stuff for less with the space shuttle, didn't they? They tried to run it like a business because the costs were too high. How did that work out? We went from being able to get to the surface of another celestial body to be confined in low Earth orbit for 40 years. Nobody's been outside a low Earth orbit since 1972. It leads to stagnation. That's not a good idea. That's a very bad idea. So, yeah, definitely, long story short, it's contingent. It's contingent if we're going to get to Mars or the moon, even the moon in our lifetime. I think we'll get to the moon. I think that one's pretty certain at this point, but nothing is set in stone. The best thing that we can do is put up the best offensive capability for going into space, and that means more rockets, more ways to get into space. Ichi, that's what I mean. Hey, Simuli, 11-month resub. That's what I mean. You know, when I say, like, if we didn't need to go to the bathroom, then we wouldn't need toilets, all right? Like, saying that, you know, humanity would be good without profit is like saying if we didn't have to go to the bathroom, we wouldn't need toilets. We have to go to the bath. That's a fundamental thing that we need to do. It's a basic human need. And I think that profit is that too. It's just part of our psyche. It's part of the human condition, just as much as going to the bathroom is. I mean, personal opinion, people will disagree with me on that one. That's totally cool. We could have been on the moon before my lifetime. Yeah. Then, and what happened? Stagnation in the space program. Albeit stagnation between governments or stagnation between corporations. Monopolies create stagnation, dude. Do you want one company having a monopoly to get into space? I don't. That's a really bad idea. I don't care if it's SpaceX. I mean, I think that SpaceX would do it in good faith. But that sets up the precedent for another company not do it. Maybe somebody comes along and, invents a faster-than-light drive and puts SpaceX out of business in the future. That could happen. I wouldn't want it to happen. I think Elon would go down swinging if you catch my drift. Hey! Skyrmere! Gifted out 5 subs. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. Awesome. I'm with you on that one, Entropy. You'd be crazy to think that a government would allow a corporation to be the only one with access to space or access to the moon. That's a really foolish thing to think. I agree. I was responding more to someone else's ideology that profit is what to... Yeah, okay. So we're on the same page each. Yeah, and once again, profit being ingrained into human psyche is probably something that's open for interpretation, and that's fine. That's fine. I get it. Yeah, Striker, correct. That's the gist of what I'm getting at. Anyway, so Definitely it depends. But I think the best way forward is to cheer on NASA and cheer on SpaceX and Blue Origin and everybody else. Anybody that's willing to put money into spaceflight is good for spaceflight. I always say this. I say this all the time. All right? And I sound like a freaking broken record at this point, but it cannot be understated. There is no one here that's going to convince me of two things. No one here is going to convince me that less money for NASA is a good thing. And no one's going to convince me here that less rockets are better for spaceflight. That's stupid. That's not a good way to look at it. That's a very crappy take. And it gets peddled around a lot more than you might think. Hey, Skymere. What's up? Halsey, it was just that just insert your, saying of faster than light drive would put SpaceX out of business is just kind of something to give you the idea in your head. I don't think someone's going to make a faster than light drive, and if they do, I don't think it's going to put SpaceX out of business. That's going into the Star Trek realm, you know what I mean? It was just a hyperbole, you know what I mean? Yep. Anyway, with that being said, let's get back into the Starship footage. Then we're boned, Buck. You don't think the government is going to try to get in there and get a piece of that pie if SpaceX gets SpaceX has the only way to get to the moon? No, that's not how this works. You know that, right? I know, Sav. Wouldn't that be something? Think SpaceX will throw something in Mars in 2024? It's possible. In fact, part of the reason why I think SpaceX goes so fast, fellas, is because I think Elon wants to see this project through. I think that's the primary driving thing. That and impending doom of a possible extinction event. Elon wants to see this project through to ensure kind of to himself that, we become multiplanetary. I mean, that is SpaceX's stated goal. The next the next Mars window is in 2022, then 2024, and then 2026, late 2026, and then early 2029, I think. It's every 26 months. So right now it's on even years. Eventually it'll switch to odd years. 22, 24, 27, 29, 31. Yeah, there. Okay, and I was off by 1 month on one of the years. There you go. I think we'll get there. I think we're in the best possible position to be able to get there right now because SpaceX is firing on all cylinders and NASA's pulling their head out of their culo. You know what I mean. There you go, Sal. Yep. Hey. Tahoe. Well, those are outside braces to hold the thing together. Reinforcement. So the thing doesn't do this. Because the building is like C-shaped. That outside reinforcement prevents it from doing wibble wobbles. That's final installation right there, guys. It is a buttress. Yes. What'd you say about my butt, Don? That's weird. Get it right. It is to help keep the building intact in high wind situations such as hurricanes, which causes the building to do... I said it was flying. That's weird. I was gonna, but buttress is what? Chat, you're getting weird. That's the test article there. Also, this little piece of ISS info couldn't find any other source other than Insta. Oh. Oh, it's gonna take an old docking port down. Oh, I see it. Cool. Alright. Hey, crane parts! It's just sitting there. Yeah, a small one, Halsey, yes. But it's more of a tropical storm by the time we got there. Yeah, God. I really appreciate what you're showing me right now. That's nice. How stormproof is the site? I'm pretty sure the programmatic environmental assessment took a lot of that into account. I'm pretty sure SpaceX built it to code, so to speak, as best as they could with their rapid prototyping operation. Crane parts, junk. Beautiful, I want one. Don't we all? Crane parts. Other crane parts. More crane parts. Rolling porta potty. Ball, burbs. That's pretty good. No, I haven't seen it, French. I'll have to look at it. Oh, yeah. Man, that's cool. Dude, it's looking more and more like a big old space shuttle every day. I love it. This thing is gonna be so crazy. It's gonna be so nuts. That's gonna fly into space, guys. Not like fly into space, go up and come down. Like, get into orbit. best case scenario. That one starship is like a third of the size of the ISS or something. Like, I don't hate that. Yes, sir. I do like it. No, sir. I don't like it. These high bays look flimsy compared to the VAB. Yeah. Sure, they're fine. And I want big boom. Nice try, Jamie. When? It really is. It really is dependent on the FAA. The FAA needs time to review public comment and finalize their programmatic environmental assessment. Once the PEA is finalized, that basically gives SpaceX the green light to yeet up into space. Giant steely-eyed missile man shuttle. Yep. Will the high bays have huge doors like the VAB eventually? No, Stryker. You saw nothing. Guys, I honestly think sometime down the road that all the high bays are going to be interconnected. And what we'll end up getting is something like Michoud. So this is the building where SLS gets made. It's a very big building. But you see that there are high bays built into it. There's multiple high bays. There's another one over here. You see how, like, this was clearly built separately from the rest of this, right? Like, this was built at a different time. Like, they probably started, well, they started with this over here. And then they scaled it out. Like, they built all this stuff, and then they built this. Like, this is they're sub-assemblies, quote-unquote, to a building, and then they built more things over here. I actually think Michoud was a mining area or something. Could have been oil or something. Hey, what's up? I think that Boca Chica will probably end up looking like this at some point. They'll probably just connect all the high bays together with one big building, if I had to guess. I mean, you know, SpaceX is doing this rapid prototyping, and the rapid prototyping is done outside, more or less, and that's fine. But eventually, I think it's going to have to not end up looking like this, but it'll probably end up looking something kind of similar to something similar to that, probably. Yeah, like Everett. Every time you say that place, I think you're trolling, haha, and it was oil. Yeah, oil processing before that. Yep. I think it'll probably end up looking something like this. I mean, eventually starships are going to have to get made inside. Well, actually, you know what? That really isn't true, but I mean, it took them a while to get to something like this with the commercial airline industry. It's probably going to take a while for this to do the same. And yeah, the ones that are carrying people, or the ones that are like used for NASA missions are gonna have to be made in a clean room at some point. So yeah, we might see something like that in the future. That, once again, just personal theory. Yes, Hip, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. That was in a different building in Everett, but yeah, that was at Everett. Whatenvironment.com. Mars doesn't have an environment. There's no environment. Let me tell you, that place is big. Yep. Yeah, I know. I don't understand. But people weighing in on things they don't understand? Jeez. That's never happened. I mean, I say that freaking unironically that I'm susceptible to that. It happens. could be life on Mars. Should we poison it? I don't think that even having a city, if we had a city that was the size, like a small city, even if we had 100,000 people on Mars, I still wouldn't be worried about screwing up the environment completely. It's taking 7 billion people on this planet to screw up the environment. Right? I don't think a couple hundred people or even 100,000 people is going to mess up Mars's environment. Just putting it out there. Just putting it out there. Just a thought. Look at the wind. Look at the wind blowing that dang lift back and forth. Oh, how do you get used to that, man? Yeah, Mile, I don't think we need to be worried. Look at that thing, man. Close that door. Yeah, Laserman, I'm with you on that one. Taking apart the Franken Crane because SpaceX bought their own. SpaceX is like, I'm gonna buy my own crane and paint it black with white stripes. In fact, forget the white stripes. Damn, that thing is big. He's moving the house in position to be disassembled. Yep, they're gonna take the mast off here, I think. Oh no, that's an extension. That's an extension to the house. It's an extension for the back of the crane. They're gonna pull it off. Okay, take the pins out, guy. Yeah, got right. All right, and now see, one crane comes down, the other crane rises up. It's the circle of life. Crane and crane and I gotta change the song up enough so I don't get sued. Yeah, Striker, that'd be cool. What is the advantage of owning your own crane? It's if you're using the crane a lot, Orange Gamer, it's probably cheaper to bring it in-house. Contracting gets expensive if you do it in mass. Like if you're building a bridge, right? If you're a town and you're building a bridge in your town, you don't need to buy a crane just to use it once. What, are you going to build another bridge in your small town? What, are you going to make every road a bridge? Then maybe buying the crane is worth it. SpaceX, it's pretty clear that SpaceX is long-term committed to this project. Buying a crane is a very good indicator of that, because that means you're going to need day-to-day operations with the crane for a very long period of time. And you can pick up chicks in a crane. That's right. It's got tank treads. You can pick up chicks in a tank, so you can pick up chicks in a crane. It happens, all right? You see these hooks at the front of the crane? See those hooks? They look like tusks. What kind of animal has tusks? Didn't I tell you to stop making up imaginary animals, chat? Crane hooks in the front kind of look like a big cat or something. What, like a puma? Yeah, sure. There you go. Loading up the counterweights. Man, look at that pin. Dude, look at how clean that bearing is. Oh, man. I like. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a nice, that is a nice bearing right there. Is it copper or is it brass, maybe? You see how they made this a different metal? See that? See how it's a different type of metal. It's definitely not steel. Anybody know why you do that? Where are my mechanical engineers at? Why would you put a bearing in here? Why not just drill a hole through the steel? Bronze. Why is it bronze? Let's see who knows. Why would you do that? Rust? Nope. It wears. That metal's gonna wear because it's a bearing. It's gonna wear out. You want it to wear out the bronze so you can replace it and not mess with the steel structure of the crane. It's just a bearing. Engines, motors, most of the moving parts in motors, camshafts, crankshafts, have bearings that are very similar to that. They're not made out of brass, but the idea is that you don't damage the engine when a component wears out. It'll also wear the bronze out, and it won't wear the steel out because it's putting load on it. That's why they have a bronze or a brass bearing in there. Yeah, I don't think it's a bushing so much. That's a bearing. It's a metal bearing. Yeah, see, the pin gets pushed through. There you go. But bushing would be... A bushing is a form of damper. Steel, am I wrong? When I think bushing, I think like a bushing for a control arm, which is... The idea there is to dampen vibration. Dampen road vibration, not damping differences. It's a bushing, not a bearing. You sure? Raptor. A bushing is a bearing. What about a walrus? Yeah, that's right. Valve guides. Yep. Maggie feels like calling it a bushing. Oh, well, if Maggie says it, then. Anything crazy in the space news today? Yeah, there's a couple things here and there. Alright, so we also have to get this one up. That's loud. Bearings have rollers. No, they don't. A ball bearing or a roller bearing has rollers. You can have bearings that have no rolling pieces. Bearings on an engine, Geeson, have no moving parts. It's just a metal sleeve, just like that. It's actually a two-piece metal sleeve that goes like this. So you can remove the crankshaft. What would you call a wrist pin that goes through a piston? I would just call it a wrist pin, Dirk, but I don't know. I mean, guys, it could be a bushing. I could be wrong. Honestly, I could be wrong. Could be bearing, could be bushing. I'm sure they call it something. They could call it a banana-rama for all I care. The point is, it's kind of a semantic argument to make, but if you guys are insistent on calling it a bushing, or if I'm wrong, we can call it a bushing. It doesn't really matter. The point is what it functions as. It's a part that will wear out before the crane wears out. That's why you would put a bushing or a bearing into something like that.
Yo.
What's up?
I can't decide if I should make 2 batches of chocolate chip cookies or 1.
2.
Okay.
That was easy. What kind of question is that, man? I don't know. But are the cookies at bushing or at bearing? Sugar cookies. Oh, good man. I'm going to call bushings and bearings in this barra bushes from now on. Yeah. That's right, Chad. Anything that you're passionate about, I will destroy. We would call them shrubbers. That's a good idea. More locks loading at the main plant. Okay. SpaceX Crane. See, they have the pendants hooked up between the mast and the derrick right here. They have these pendants hooked up for when they go to install another piece. When they install another piece, the crane pieces, the parts of the lattice crane have hooks on the top and the bottom, right? And what the idea is that if you look at actually that's the mast, or that's the main boom. They have the mast hooked into the derrick there. So the idea here is that, you know, you have this tilted down, they attach a piece like this, right? And then they pull the mast back with the pulleys, and these pendants will lift up the main boom, and the main boom will do this. Then they attach the lower pins, and then they move the pendants to that next piece, rinse and repeat over and over and over again until you have a crane. And through that process, the mast will slowly move into the backwards position. Yeah, man, I'm over it, dude. It's probably a bushing. Chad's insistent on calling it a bushing. What I'm trying to tell you is I was more interested in teaching its function and not the name. But clearly the name is important to a lot of people. I'm over it. We call it bushing from now on, dude. I won't make that mistake again. But people are very adamant about semantics. Yeah. All right, call it bushing. I don't care. How many nugs? Bro, get 10 and get me some, please. Did they name the SpaceX Crane? I wanted to call the SpaceX Crane Jeff, but nobody wanted to do that. Oh, okay, man. Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, I'm going to call them shrubbers from now on. That's a good idea. Yeah, we'll keep doing that. Semantics are important in engineering. Yeah, no doubt, Excessum. Are we engineering right now? Engineering is all about application, all right? There's times where you can be very straightforward, and there's times where you don't have to be. Same page, or else what are we talking about? Yeah, that's why I was more interested in function and not the name, but it's cool. It's all good. We will call it a bushing or a shrubber from now on. I like shrubber. Shrubber's good. Matheson. What's the mark on that thing? 1073. What's 1073? 1073 is methane? Methane? I forget. I'm looking at the marker right there. That's load indicators. They put that on there for firemen in case there's a fire, so they know how to fight the fire. Yeah, 1073 is LOX. Okay, yeah, that's right. 1073 is LOX. 1977 is nitrogen. I forget what methane is. I know that 1992 is diesel fuel. Or no, 1202 is diesel fuel. 1993 is heating oil. I think 1203 is gasoline. Forget. The top flame indicates oxidizer. There you go. Here is an animal with tusks. Okay. That's a big crane, man. Hoppy. Excuse me. One hop. Did I cover this? Final certification run for Orion recovery. I covered that very briefly the other day, John. Actually, I can't remember if I mentioned that on Space News. Then I'll just say it again right now. The Navy's finalizing Orion recovery operations. They did an Orion recovery test the other day. And the Navy should be certified for Orion recovery. Damn. Man, that thing's big. Nice Super Duty. Nice Suburban. It's got some Brodozer rims on it, though. Tesla! Palm tree. Palm tree. Palm tree. Palm tree. Forklift. Predominant. Look! Forklift! Look at it. Fork you. Lift. Dodge. What happened to not needing a heat shield because of the steel? That plane go out the window? Yeah. Yeah. You need the tiles. Yeah, you need those. I think that's the part that I try to steer away from, dude, because it's like people really like clarifying on stuff, like, and if I let it ride too long in chat, people, it gets out of hand really easily. That's why I'm like, okay, we'll call it a bushing from now on. Next page, please. You'd be surprised how often I let a semantic argument in chat just keep going and two viewers end up hating each other. It's literally happened. Yeah, that's why I'm just like, yep, bushing. All right, move on. That's why those, people saying, oh, it's bushing with an S. No, it's bushing with a C. It's like, okay. All right, that's not gonna get us anywhere. We've traumatized you, haven't we? Manor, I have pretty damn good patience for somebody that deals with a chat this big on a daily basis. But sometimes it's just like, dude, let it freaking go, man. I've had viewers in the past, dude, it's strangest phenomenon here. All right, so I have pretty straightforward rules in the chat. They're pretty straightforward. The don't be that guy is kind of vague. But I've had viewers in the past, nothing recent, so nothing recent. I've had viewers in the past try to tell me what my chat rules are. There was one guy that got upset because we ran family friendly during the day. There was one guy that got upset because he thought that I was living in a safe space and it was okay to expose children willy-nilly to swearing because that's how the real world works. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that you got to make the rules for my stream. That's really cool. And, I told him off. I'm like, yeah, that's, here's how the real world works. You don't, this isn't your stream. So you don't make the rules. And then I got proceeded to call a snowflake and I'm sorry if words and facts don't care about your feel. I'm like, yeah, okay, you totally missed the point, but that's fine. It's all right. Yeah. I've been called everything under the book. Or everything under the sun. I've been called everything in the book. Yeah. So I try to steer away from those types of arguments pretty much as quick as I can, because those arguments don't go anywhere, and all they do is end up with people pissed off. It's futile. It happens every time, because it's the internet, guys. Every freaking time. Every time. I saw it starting to happen with this. That's why I put the dang video back on. I was just like, yeah, it's a bushing. All right, cool. It's not the fact that, I'm not concerned about whether it's a bushing or a bearing or anything. It's fine. We call it bushing. Call it a shrubbery. Call it banana for all I care. The name of it isn't what I'm trying to steer us away for. Not the fact that I called it a bearing and it's a bushing. I don't care. It's a bushing. Sure, why not? I steer the chat away from those conversations because they'll devolve into people yelling at each other very quickly. And you know what? Then it becomes a problem for the mods, and then the mods have to deal with it, and then it can spiral out of control, and then it ends up with me being called a stupid snowflake. It's like, all right. Wow. That was a waste of time. So, yeah, that's why I do that. Not that it's not for, that I'm not concerned with the proper naming of stuff and semantics when it comes to engineering. That has nothing to do with it. It's more about the social interactions of chat. I don't know, John. I don't really care. If I was preoccupied with what everybody thought of me on the internet, I would have gone insane a long time ago. Hey, Neuro. Yeah, exactly, Mile. I know. Yeah. I love how that guy called me a snowflake and called me, called me that for being strong in my convictions because I refused to let him make the rules for my chat. And when he got upset about the rules, he called me that. I don't understand. Bro, do you not see the irony in what you're doing? Yeah, but this has happened, man. It's happened. I've dealt with every streaming chat issue under the sun, but I usually keep it on the DL. Something like that came. I don't know. Yeah, projection, I guess. I'm like, dude, it's not a hard rule. It's not a hard rule to abide by. Would you walk into a bank and withdraw money and swear in front of the teller? Dude, what? They'd be like, hey, how's your day? Welcome to blah 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 bank. Would you like to withdraw money? Yeah, frickin' would, man. Frick you, I would. Yeah, give me that money, man. That would be great. Frick this. Frick this bank. This bank's awesome. I'm pretty sure the tellers would be like, button there. And, I mean, I have. That's okay. I don't understand that. Yeah, it's very strange. Sounds like a normal day in Boston. Nah, hellfish. Boston insults. The best Boston insults are the best, Northeast sass, and this goes for New York too, are the ones that don't swear. Yeah, believe it or not. Who won last night? Bruins won 5-1. Patrice Bergeron scored 4 goals. Yeah. Yeah, Shex. That happens, dude. Another thing, guys, is people that come into the chat and try to make the stream about them. That happens from time to time. Now, don't get me wrong. People come in and ask me personal questions from time to time, and I don't mind answering them. But there are folks that come in and they want to make it about them. Like guys that come in and people that come in and say, hey, like, I noticed this, and this is probably just that it's younger kids. That was footage of the crane getting put together. It's probably just younger kids. There are people that come in and they say, hey, how you doing? And I'm like, oh, I'm doing really well. And they're like, oh, I see you're playing GTA 5. I play GTA 5 on my stream too. It's like, that's good to know. Hey, you should come check me out. It's like, all right. Hey, chat, did you guys know that I stream this game too? Like, dude, what are you doing? I don't know, man. Like, I noticed that if they goad you into a conversation, and folks think that that's a normal thing to do. Like, can you imagine? I say that streaming is a service job. That's what I've always said, right? Streaming is a service job, and it's like running a restaurant. It requires long amounts of hours, and unless you're Ninja or something, you're not going to make that much money off. The margins are like running a restaurant. They're pretty thin, unless you get a good following, right? With that being said, you wouldn't go into somebody else's restaurant and advertise your restaurant. Oh, hey, this is a great pizza joint, man. Yeah, I really love the pizza here. Hey, I make pizza too at my restaurant down the street. You should try out mine. If you think this pizza's good, you should try out my pizza. Like, you wouldn't go into another restaurant and say that. Or the one that kept giving you crap for restreaming NSF. Yeah, Reshock, that guy never apologized, which is... I'm a little... Like, don't get me wrong, I forgot about this a long time ago. The guy literally threatened to copy strike the stream in chat, stopped the stream, disrupted the entire stream, and then figured out he was wrong and never said sorry. I never got an apology from that dude. And don't get me wrong, I wasn't really expecting one, but in this day and age, you got to take a copyright, a threatening copy strike. You have to take that seriously. Like, yeah, that guy never apologized. I never saw him in here ever again. Yeah, dude, I'll tell you guys, I deal with a lot of crap. But I don't bring it up. I don't bring it up. It's not any of your business. You don't need to know. Like, I try not to bring that element into the stream. And that's why I try to steer... If I see semantics starting to break out of chat, that's why I try to steer us away. I'm like, okay, subject change, let's go. Jingly keys, My mod team deals with a lot of it, too. But sometimes I have to get involved. And that's, yeah, it sucks when that happens. But, hey, it is what it is. Like I said, Medusa, you're going to have a... It's like working in a restaurant. And take it from somebody that's worked in restaurants for a long time. Before I did live streaming. It's not that different. You're always going to have a customer that complains that, oh, my pizza isn't well done enough. It wasn't done enough. I want a refund. All right, can I have the pizza back? No, I ate it. You want your money back because you didn't like the quality of the food that you ate. Yes, that's a true story, by the way. Yeah. I'm like, huh. Yeah, you should make me another pizza for free. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that you got to run this business for us. Like, yeah, hey, man, you just gotta, I think every day for the freaking mods, dude. They got thicker skin than I do. Hey, D. But yeah, that's why. That's not that I'm not concerned with getting the engineering and teaching right. That's something I'm very concerned with. It's more about, sometimes you just gotta steer the wheel to the right, All right, so that last bit of the NSF footage showed the crane being assembled. So question on the super heavy thrust section, what's that metal ring on the bottom? Probably some type of reinforcement, T-Man. What metal ring are you referring to? Are you talking about this thing? That right there, if you're talking about that's a heat shield. It keeps the turbine machinery, it's a thermal barrier between the turbine machinery, which is very cold because it has the cold propellants going through it, and the rocket engine, which is really hot, the nozzle, It's a thermal barrier. Yeah, Lonnie pulls out the nut, a flamethrower. Argon right there. More for re-entry than to protect from the exhaust, no? I'm not exactly sure, Entropy, to be 100% honest with you. I know that the Saturn V on its second stage had a thermal heat shield similar to this. It looked kind of like this, and then there was a flat spot down here. Oh yeah, EG, you'd be surprised what people think they... You'd be surprised what people, you know, think they're entitled to. It happens. You know, part of me thinks that they're just doing this to get free food. They're just making up stuff to get free food, which is, that's the hustle, man. That's fine. If I'm not smart enough to detect it, I deserve to lose the business, you know? That's how I look at it. And that's what my boss told me when I worked at the pizza place. But you gotta, you know, if someone's gonna hustle you like that, that's your fault. You know? Dang, dude, just watched the highlights from yesterday. Great game. It was fun. Fun to watch. Oh, yeah. Nice, Axiom. Mm-hmm. I got to check out a 9-cylinder Russian airplane engine. Care to see the pictures? Yeah, sure, D. That engine cluster is so sick to look at. I'm a little surprised how close together they are. I no longer feel so bad about my KSP engine clusters. Yeah, Van Raptor runs extremely fuel-rich to stay cool, or else it will... Rocket Guy was actually telling about this. They're way fuel-rich. They're nowhere near stoic with the shuttle engine nor Raptor. They run super fuel-rich. The reason why is because of temperature. That's why the metal doesn't melt on the motor, and that's even with copper cooling channels, right? You got to get perms from the mods, D, but I can see the link anyway. Raptor's full flow, grab. All right, D, let's take a look. Let's see what we got here. Nice. Yeah, Radial. Cool. These are nice. These are high quality pictures. Oh, yeah, okay. All right. Pretty good. Pretty good. This looks like a. This looks like an AN2 motor, if I'm looking at that right. I think that's an AN2 radial. Very nice. The two crates behind it are two more of the same engine. All right, here, let's take a look. Antonov 2 is a biplane that was used for like very remote stuff because it's very simple, and it has a big radial engine like that. Here, let's take a look. I wonder. Let's see if this has a 9-cylinder in it. Yeah, China still frickin' makes the thing. Crazy. The most common version is the AN2T, a 12-seat passenger plane. All other versions are powered by a 750 kilowatt, 1,000 horsepower, 9-cylinder Svetsov ASH62 radial engine. Still got it. Still got it, bro. Yeah. All right. Yeah, it's designed for remote. Good for Russia because there's a lot of Russia that has remoteness in it. Is there a specific reason for these engines to have an odd number of cylinders? Well, let's read. The ASH-62 was a development of the Wright R1820 Cyclone engine that had been built in Russia under license as the Svetsov M25. The main improvements, including a 2-speed supercharger, cool, and a more efficient induction system. Power is an increase from the Cyclone's 775 to 1,000 horsepower. First run in 1937, licensed versions are still in production by a Polish aerospace manufacturer, Kielich, in Poland as of 2017. The ASH-62 was also produced in China. It is estimated that 40,000 were produced in the USSR. Interesting. The Cyclone, this is a B-17 engine. Kalish. Thanks, Endo. Last Royal Flying Doctor Service. Wait, what? The R1820 Cyclone 9 represented a further development of the Wright P2 engine dating back to 1925, featuring a greater displacement and a host of improvements.
Discovery, go at throttle.
The R1820 entered production in 1931. The engine remained in production well into the 1950s. Yeah, I'm not sure this particular reason why there's 9 cylinders in it, but yeah. So this is see, this is a Wright engine. Where'd you find this, D? Do we have the full album here? Oh. Let's see. Let's take a look. So, made in the USSR. Huh. Put it in the Ford? No. Ew. I could put 302 in the Ford and make more power than this thing. I do have 302 in there. The Royal Flying Doctor Service of Australia. What do they use AN2s? Oh. Oh no, it's something like that. Cool. How do you think the Astra LV 0007 will go? I think it'll be fine, fella. Yeah, it'll be good. I don't see why it wouldn't. Astra probably learned a lot from the last flight. The work he did on his puts out 420 horsepower. Where were you working on one of these things? Alrighty, school's done. May I watch, Kappa? Yes. The guy I know builds planes, and he put this in his Pitts 12. He put this in a Pitts? Oh, God. Okay. So this isn't I don't think this is an ASH. I don't think... What is this? So M14P. Serner. No, S-E-R-I. I forget what the backwards R is. Damn it. Seria? Seria. Oh, serial number. No, that can't be serial number. Well, it could be. And the backwards R is yeah. I always forget that. All right. So this is TIP. Seria is more like Mark II. Okay, so this is an M14P. Data? Huh. I'm trying to learn Russian. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Date. Date. Okay, I gotcha. Yeah. So that's the date of manufacturer. There's the serial number right there. So an M14P. Let me Google that. M14P radial engine. So it's a Videnev M14P. There you go. Let's see. So it's not an ASH. I was incorrect. It's a Russian 9-cylinder, 4-stroke, air-cooled, petrol-powered radial engine producing 360 horsepower. It dates from the 1940s, and it is itself a development of the Ivchenko AL-14 engine. A variant known as the M462 was produced under license by Avia. Oh, this was used all over the place. Wait, Kamov? They made it, yeah, helicopters. Cool. Nice. Videnev. Does that say that anywhere here? Nope. Just a tag and that's it. Interesting. The plane he put it in. So he put that thing into the pits? Bro. Yeah, that's a interesting combination. Damn, dude. That's some real airplane hot rodding. I don't think, how did... Yeah. Yeah, pits are... A plane that's similar to this is in Flight Simulator. Oh, this is Oshkosh, isn't it? That's at Oshkosh. Nice. How did he get his hands on a Russian engine all the way over here? Namely, a Soviet engine. How'd you find that? Related to the M14, let me see. Oh. Cool. Oh, hey, I know the guy who owns the plane behind it. Cool, Tron, there you go. Amazing what you can find on eBay. The Palestinian Space Agency follows you on Twitter. What should you do? I don't know. A straight pilot in a MiG. They never put it in a MiG they put that engine in a MiG. I think we got everything. Oh. Here's your FP2 results from Mexico, just shifting gears to Formula 1 news. Okay. Mix. Yeah, Lewis sandbagging as usual. As usual. Gagarin flew MiGs. He died in a crash trying to fly one. There was a training accident in a MiG, what is it, a MiG-17 or something? If you like plane hot rodding, you should check out some Reno Air Race planes. I know about the Reno Air Race planes, yeah. What is that supposed to be, a Bearcat? Oh, that's cool. Wow, what a crazy story. MiG-15, there you go. Verstappen Hex. What does a black flag in F1 mean? Disqualification. So, there's different flags. Black flag means you got DQ'd. White black flag mixed means you got a penalty. Red flag means the race is stopped. Yellow flag is slow down. Caution on the track, so slow down. Green is go. Checkered is race end. Blue flag means you are a lap down and you have to let the guy go by you because you're not racing him. I think that's everything. White flag is last lap. Yeah. Yep, I got all of them. And then, yeah, Kemi, there's combinations. There's yellow, there's double yellow, there's red yellow, there's green white. You were watching iRacing recently. That's cool, man. Right on. Green, white, checkers or wreckers, boy. That's a NASCAR thing. It's not really so much in Formula 1. Red, yellow is slippery oil. Yep. Yeah, and then there's the pace car. Yellow flag sometimes can mean the pace car can come out. It sometimes means just slow down. I think I got all of them. Yeah, if the red flag's flying, stop the car. If you see the red flag, stop. Just stop. Just pull the car over. Just stop. That's what that means. Find a safe space on the track and just pull over. Since Summit is doing iRacing, you need to get yourself at least one day into iRacing. Bandit, everybody says I should do it, but where am I going to find the time to do this? I was wondering why you've never tried iRacing. Maybe? Hey, Toma, what's going on? Just wondering, Crew 3 has been delayed. Is Crew 2's comeback going to be delayed too? They're going to push it as far as they can, Toma, before the consumables on the Dragon reach their EOL. Crew 2 was originally supposed to be out there for 180 days. Dragon's max consumables are 210 days before they need to come home. Like, components on the spacecraft will start to degrade after 210 days. So 200, like NASA rates it very conservatively, right? Just in case something like this happens. Because you don't want the capsule, you don't want to have like a launch delayed like this and then have to, force your crew home. They have leeway with consumables on purpose. So Crew 2 could stay up there for a little bit longer. They can do it. But not much longer. So what's the difference between 180 and 210? So another month. They have a month of flexibility. Don't iRacing. Does he say he needs a black flag because he swished him on the wall in the pit? Yeah, he's complaining because he thought you get black flagged if you race dirty. That's what you get a black flag. So yeah. He thought he squeezed him, and he thought that deserves a penalty or disqualification because that's not. Everybody tries to race in good faith, and everybody does. But you're obviously not going in. I mean, sometimes that does happen. You're not going into the race, with the expectation of running the other guy off the road. Even though sometimes people hold a grudge, it does happen, or a grudge. It happens. That can happen in racing. But you don't go in with that expectation. But honestly, dude, take it from somebody that does a lot of sim racing. It's really easy to lose your cool when you're racing. It's very easy to lose your cool and say stuff and do stuff that you don't mean. Racing is a very stressful situation. It's like playing a game of chess. If you're playing a game, anybody that knows a little bit about chess knows that you need to stay focused. You need to stay focused and try to figure out what the other guy's doing and try to predict his moves and try to basically run permutations of combinations of moves in your head to predict what the other guy is doing with a reasonable probability so you can beat him. That requires hours of focus into a game. Streaming is the same way to an extent. I really shouldn't lose my cool on stream, but sometimes it happens. I'm only human. I make mistakes. It happens, right? Racing is like that too, and I do make mistakes when I race. I'm not very good. Let me race once a week, but then again, I race once a week, and I've been doing it for a really long time. So I probably should be better than I am. But I'll tell you, you're so focused, and you have to be so in tune with the car at all times. If you get tilted, it's really easy to screw up, and if you screw up, you'll get extra pissed off. Or if you spin the car, it breaks your concentration, and then you get mad, and it's really easy to do something that you don't mean. Or say something to somebody that you don't mean. It's kind of heat of the moment stuff. anything that drivers say when they're driving around on the track, take with a grain of salt. Doesn't matter if you're watching F1, NASCAR, whatever. Like that stuff that Denny Hamlin did the other day. He got pissed at Bowman, and he stopped his car in front of him on the track after the race ended and like tried to block him from doing burnouts, and because he spun him inadvertently near the end of the race and cost him a victory. It was an accident, right? He didn't mean to do it. Denny got pissed off, and oh, dude, he got so mad. He said stupid stuff to the press because he was so pissed off, and then he went on a tirade on Twitter about how mad he was. And dude, oh man, he didn't make himself look too classy. Go look at his like freaking Twitter meltdown, man. He was like, I've been doing this, I've been struggling. I don't have I came in here from nothing. I came up from nothing. This is bull crap. It's like, dude, just say you're pissed off because you got spun out. Like, that's annoying. Your race got ruined. You don't need to explain it anymore. We get it. Like he's still going off at championship meeting. Dude, man, he must have been super pissed. Yeah, exactly. Be honest. That stuff will get you black flagged if you do it too much, right? I played my first game of competitive chess 3 hours ago, and I didn't lose. Nice, Spark. I've been doing a lot of reading about chess lately, too. That's kind of been like my background project. Holy crap, is that game difficult. Like, dude, I do that with sports. With football, with like American football. American football is like a chess game. You move your pieces in certain ways to try to confuse the guy or to find a chink in the armor. It is like playing a game of chess. It pretty much is. You have a timer, just like speed chess. It's the same thing. I do that with football. And I was like, oh, chess it's exactly the same. That's weird. You play chess professionally? That's awesome, Excessum. That's cool. Chess is a good game. It's a good way to get the gears turning up there. But you gotta be careful. I've been reading about chess legends and like people that are really good at it, and a lot of them descend into psychosis. Yeah. Chess players. Yeah. Okay. All right. Good. Yeah. Because chess is about being able to predict the moves, right? And I think that the idea there is that chess players end up doing that in real life, and they're trying to predict moves, so they try to quantify life in some way and end up going insane. Yeah, exactly, Gek. Yeah. Yeah. It drives paranoia because in a chess game they're always out to get you, and that's some real schizoid stuff, man. I'm more of a checkers guy. Everyone's like, I'll just stick to checkers, man. What time is Friday Night Racing? I might join, but we will see. 11, Sawyer. Watch my last real quick. It's a 1-minute video. It's hilarious. Okay. Dude, that 1,000-yard friggin' stare. I can't show it on stream, right?
It's just Chase Elliott fans, man. They're just, they don't think straightly.
Alright.
I don't need to watch any more of that. That's cringe as hell. 5D chess with multiverse time travel. Oh, boy. Keep watching? Bro, it's cringe, dude. I don't want to...
Dustin, go ahead.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. A couple things. One, does that bother you? That
No, not at all. They're going to blue the shit out of me next week, I can tell you that.
Alright, go ahead.
Michael Massey with Front Stretch. Chase, I don't know if you heard what Denny said when he was in here or not, but he
that's pretty
said
cringe,
people
bro.
booing him were Chase fans and that they don't think straightly, to quote him. How does a comment like that make you feel that he kind of took a shot at your fan base?
I'm gonna lose so much sleep tonight. Like, I might not sleep at all. That's how concerned I am.
All right, we're gonna go.
Oh man. Danny, get over it, brother. Come on, man. Like, dude, you gotta. It sucks, bro. You gotta put it behind you. And I'm sure part of him knows that, Bandit. But Jesus Christ, like Max and I got into a racing incident the other day. It pissed me off. I'm not gonna lie. I was mad. I was mad for a little bit, but the next day I was like, all right. Actually, the next day I was still a little pissed off. But the day after that, though, I was like,
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Whatever. In Assetto, I was doing really well, and Max and I got hung up in the bus stop at Spa, and I ended up, it ended up breaking the car. Yeah, I got tilted. And I didn't race good for the rest of the race. It's tough, man. Yeah, dude, it's tough, man. It's really difficult keeping that concentration. And, yeah, it's tough. It's really easy to get pissed off. Like, Counter-Strike is the same way. Like, and I play Counter-Strike. Counter, not Counter-Strike. I play Counter-Strike to test myself, to make sure that you don't get tilted, you know what I mean? It's kind of a mental test. Yeah, I don't know. Like, man, it's very... Danny, you gotta snap out of it, homie. Racing is one of those things that bring out the worst with people. Yeah, like I said, I take whatever I hear on the track with a grain of salt. And I would hope people would give me the same courtesy, dude, because I say stuff I don't mean. It's just, yeah, it's a test, man. Mental test. It's really easy to get mad. Yeah, Flykin, correct. Yeah, Boston is leaking out. What's the pit limit? What do you mean, Predominant? Assetto important links, Flykin. It's also all on the website. Yeah, that's right. If you race mad, you're going to lose. Just like if you play Counter-Strike mad, you're going to lose. Or if you play football mad, you're going to lose. You need to be in the right headspace to win. That's very important. And chess, too. I mean, I was... what game was I reading about? So, like I said, I've been reading a lot about chess. So, let's take the... And don't get me wrong, I'm not an expert by any means. So take the 72 World Championship. Which one was it? Game 2 between Fischer and what is it? Sasky. Yeah, he made a huge mistake because he wasn't thinking about it correctly. Spassky, yeah, there you go, excessive. He moved Bishop to like what was it, B7 or B2 or something? Like, what are you doing? And he got his tail handed to him. He got his crap pushed in, man. That's his own fault. Yeah, you screwed up, dude. And he paid for it, you know? He paid for it. But then, I mean, dude, being able to turn that whole thing around is that guy. Yep. He turned it, dude. I can't believe he turned it around. Once again, excessive. I've been reading about that particular championship. Holy crap. Game 6, dude. What a mind frick that game was. Alright, human. See you later. Kasparov versus the PC. I haven't read about that one. Man, chess will screw with your head, dude. Like, the more and more I read about it, the more and more I'm like... I don't know if I want to play this, you know? I'm like, dude, this game looks like I get mad at it, man. I'm not gonna lie. Don't get into it? Yeah, I don't know, man. like, dude, but then again, part of me's like, I like the challenge, man. I like that this game is tough. I like that you really gotta focus. I like that kind of stuff, you know? Because it's me, because I'm weird. Was that when Fisher played a completely different style for a year so people would learn the wrong tendency? That's correct, Rizik. Yeah, he literally changed his meta like that. Which is, and, yeah, Spassky, he had no answer. He was like, I don't know what to do here. That happens in football all the time, believe it or not. That happens in American football and soccer to an extent. You change the strategy. You do, like, that's misdirection, right? So, like, a team that has a really, really, really good team coming up on the schedule will play a certain way in all the games leading up to that game. But secretly, they'll practice another strategy, right? And then when they go to play like a good team, right, they'll flip the strategy completely and the other team doesn't have an answer. And then the other team has to make an adjustment, right? And that's what they say when the commentators, you know, like if you've ever watched a football, they need to make some adjustments. That's because they don't have an answer. Just like Spassky didn't have an answer for Fisher in Game 6. Same thing. It's that can be transcended right into football. Football's the exact same way. No faith in the Falcons. Well, Sawyer, in that Super Bowl game, the Patriots changed the strategy. Not a lot of people realize that. That's what made that team so good. They switched. They literally switched the meta in the second half. The Falcons had no answer. They couldn't figure it out. Couldn't figure it out in time. They choked. That happens. That happened in the World Series. Just a second ago, the Braves were doing something. They changed something, and the Astros had no answer. They couldn't get the bats going. They did something different. That's sports, man. That's why I like sports. It's a strategy. It's a competition. Racing is the same way. Mercedes has been doing something differently for the better part of 10 years. Look at how much they've won, and nobody else can figure it out. That's the funny part. No, what I'm saying is that Chase and the Dogs win. We are super good. Yeah. The Braves shut the power to the Astros cameras. No, they lost, dude. You don't need to be a jerk. Riz, they lost, man. Stop. He's already dead. Yeah, Axiom, it's cool. It messes with your head. I like stuff like that. It's kind of like, whoa, you know. It's called cheating. It's not cheating if you don't get caught. I'm pretty sure what Mercedes is doing somewhere, Tesla is violating the rule in some way, shape, or form, but it's violating it in a way that's subject to interpretation, which is why the FIA can't go after him, because they're not breaking the rules, they're skirting them. Differences. You should get a direct drive wheel, though. All right. But, I mean, Forlorn, the thing is that Lewis is a good driver, and he has a good team behind him. That's hard to do. It's hard to get the end-to-end solution there. That's what makes Mercedes so damn good at what they do. They have a really good driver and a really good team. And, you know, Forlorn, that's why, you know, all the haters say, like, oh, you know, Hamilton's just good because of the car. No, the car is half the battle. Lewis is the other half. Like, it's not one, it's not the other. No bad driver ever won just because of their car. You know, the state of Georgia has the 4th of November statewide as Braves Day, and the parade was nuts. Oh, I bet. Yeah, I bet. Hellfish, I don't want to spend too much money on the steering wheel, dude. I'll be 100% honest with you. I always default to spending money on the steering wheel is tantamount to buying actual car parts for the cars. And I don't know why I would do that. You know, like, why would you do that? I remember someone saying that Lewis gives good feedback for the engineers. That's part of being a good driver, Mab. Understanding the engineering. Senna did the same thing. Schumacher did the same thing. Prost did the same thing.
I have a question.
Okay, what's up?
If our oven light is out, do you think that's something we need to talk to maintenance about, or is that something we can replace?
It's something we can replace.
Okay. That's all. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. How's the oven light out? Chat says hi. Nope, she's gone already. Lightmo. You're in luck. There are wheels that can be used in cars. Is Crew 3 launching tomorrow? It's delayed indefinitely, B-Money, just as I'd predicted. Fix that stuff. Implying that I don't already? Oven light is easy. It's like changing a light bulb. Put Hamilton, Verstappen, or Bottas in a Haas and see if they still win. Well, Roblox, that's why I always say the mark of a good Formula 1 driver is somebody that can win over different teams. If I'm recalling correctly, and don't get me wrong, I don't like Lewis Hamilton. I'm a salty Ferrari fan. I can't stand him. However, he won with McLaren. He won with Mercedes. He still wins with Mercedes. Like, you can't... Senna switched teams multiple times. He drove that piece of junk Tolman's to the freaking podium. And then the Lotus after that. And then the McLaren after that. And then the Williams to an extent. Schumacher did the same thing. He won with Benetton and then and then Ferrari right after that, you know. Good news, my Shuttle C works. Also, how are you going? I'm good, Nuggets. McLaren was a genuinely good car. So, like, man, as a Ferrari fan, I can't stand the guy. But as a Formula 1 fan, damn, is he a good driver. I agree, Concrete. If Lewis was driving the Haas around, I bet you he could drive it into the points. Just like Alonso being able to drive that crap box Alpine into the points. Same thing. Pastor Maldonado is the GOAT, hands down. Oh, boy. Like, any of those bottom tier teams, like, well, Williams is trending upwards, so like Alpine or Haas or anything like that, anybody that can put one of those cars into the points is a damn good driver. George Russell's a good example of that. You know? I'm proud Danny Rick won at Monza. I like Danny. Chaos. He's a good dude. McLaren's perfect for him. It's perfect. That's right, Cammy. Yep. Nigel Mansell was peak for Williams IMO. Greatest stash in Formula 1. Yep. Lance Stroll's the greatest F1 driver of all time. Excessum, my thing about Lance Stroll is that he's not a bad driver. I just don't think he was ready to go to Formula 1. Honest, like, and that's not a mark. That's not a mark. That's not a demark, like a bad thing to say. Like, the guy got into Formula 1 because he got a seat. So what? I don't think he was ready. He skipped Formula 2. He went right from Formula 3 to Formula 1. Now, don't get me wrong. He won in Formula 3. He was a Formula 3 champion. I think he needed a little bit of time to develop his driving skills, but you see pretty good drives from him as of late. I mean, not the last race. The last race was kind of... You know, it takes time to master the craft, right? Just like chess. Same thing. Telling you, guys, this stuff's all connected. It's all connected. Because it's all, what's the one unifying thing between a football game, Formula 1, or a chess match? People. We're involved. Any situation where we're involved is going to have some form of uniformity to it, right? Money. Bro. Yes, but... That's good. I like that. That's funny, dude. Literally, yes, but no. I mean, you're not wrong. He's spitting facts. I mean, way to ruin my argument, man. I'm talking about human nature, but then again, I did say when we were talking about Starship that profit is part of human nature, so yeah, way to bring it back, dude. You freaking brought it home, man. Okay, end the stream. Yeah? End the stream? Nah. Nah, I'm not doing that. Mr. Stroll and Mr. Mansman just has money. Yeah, But see, Lance Stroll can actually drive a car to a podium in the right circumstances. If Mazepin puts that Haas into the points, I would be like, okay, what's going on here? If you're talking about Mazepin, yeah, that guy, yeah, dude, dude has no chill behind the wheel, dude. Nothing, no chill. No chill. I mean, if all the other drivers crash, yeah, it'd have to be some freak scenario, right? The probability is super low. Mazepin. I mean, XSM, I don't think Nikita's even ready for Formula 3, judging by what I've seen, dude. Like, he makes as many mistakes in that F1 car that I make when we're racing Friday night racing, dude. So, I don't really... The fact that Schumi Jr. gets nothing out of that car shows how bad it is. That's correct. Yeah, Mick is a good driver, and Mick has explicitly stated that his name should not matter, which I really appreciate. That tells you that car is, they're going through the motions because they're waiting for next year. And Haas put Mazepin in there to give them money, to get them money for development for the new car. Like, it's pretty obvious, pretty easy to see the move. I'm sure you're better than half of those pilots in Formula 1. Me? No way. I can't do that in a Formula 1 car. I can't even fit in the damn thing. It's on the F1 site, Rizik, yeah. Just type in 2022 F1 changes into Google, dude. That'll pop up what you need. Yeah, 99.9% of being in the 99.9th percentile, Alan, isn't going to win you a Formula 1 championship. That's the thing. Repost. The Andretti acquiring an F1 team fell through. It won't happen. Yeah. Yeah, Roblox, there are people that are way better than me. That, like I think you're a better driver than I am, dude. I said it. Like, you consistently place ahead of me. That should tell you everything you need to know. Like, I have no problem saying that. I'm better at Kerbal than you, though. He's joke. He's joke, I kid. That part is true. Yep. But anyway. Alright. Okay. I have a Seto and a wheel. How and when can I race with you? It says we're going to be racing tonight at 11. That's when I'll start up. Assetto important links, AC important links in the Discord is where you download the stuff on a per week basis. Most of the stuff is actually like a lot of everything. Everything is free to download. They're free to play Assetto mods except for the IndyCar stuff. The IndyCar stuff you have to pay like $3 or $4 to get the IndyCar, but that's the only pay content we use. The reason why, and that, actually, it's probably a good time to say it. That's the reason why we play Assetto and not why I don't just play iRacing all the time. I want to make it so someone can jump into racing by just downloading a couple of mods, not paying for a bunch of stuff and that to race with us. All you got to do is download a couple of things, here and there, and then you're welcome to race. It's open. Anybody can race. Heck, if Lewis Hamilton wanted to come race for Friday Night Racing, I'd be like, sure, go ahead. Yeah, no problem. Like, yeah, I mean, like, that would be great. That'd be an honor, man. Damn, you know, like. Can I get a link to the Discord? I got you, man. Links in chat, dude. Get Lando. He'd be up for it. I've thought about it. I've thought about shooting him a DM, but it would most likely get buried. But hey, you miss 100% of the shots you don't make, right? You could try to invite Tony Kanaan. Sir Lewis, yeah, right. I'm working on a Starship Super Heavy tower. Oh, neat. 100% of the shots you don't make, right? You could try to invite Tony Kanaan. Sir Lewis, yeah, right. I'm working on a Starship Super Heavy tower. Oh, neat. 100% of the shots you don't make, right? You could try to invite Tony Kanaan. Sir Lewis, yeah, right. I'm working on a Starship Super Heavy tower. Okay. Oh, man. All right. What do we want to do? Let's fire up.
Go and throttle up.
I completely agree. You miss 100% of the shots you don't make. Streamer misspoke. I know exactly what he means, but I'm still gonna call out the fact that he misspoke, even though I got the gist of it. Thanks, Fistus. I'm just teasing. It was funny. Yeah. Yeah, you and the countless hundreds of other people that say that every time I don't use perfect pronunciation and grammar. Great Michael Scott, Wayne Gretzky quote. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Invite Jimmy Broadbent first and get in with the community, and you'll get Lando after. Yeah, but Tessa, like, that's the other thing. I don't